Hi there, my name is Damien Atkins. I'm an actor. I work with the Shaw Festival. I'm in the acting ensemble here. This is my fourth season. I've been a professional actor since 1987. I'm going to do a little short video for you today about audition technique. Now, everybody starts out hating auditions. I started out hating auditions, but now I actually kind of love them. And so I want to share with you a little bit some of the tools that I developed and that I learned that help me feel like I'm a bit more in control. Number one tip for auditions is be ready before you need to be ready. So when that theater company or that community theater or that person calls and says, I want you to come in next week and do a classical monologue for me, that is not the time to start learning a classical piece, right? A week is not enough time to learn a monologue, and sometimes you don't even have a week. The time for learning those pieces is now. You can start working on those pieces before you have the auditions. There's nothing stopping you. If you want to go to the library, you go online, find some pieces for the kinds of work that you would like to be doing. So if you want to be doing classical work, find some classical pieces. You want to be doing modern work, find some modern pieces. You can assemble a stable of pieces that you start working on very slowly. You break them down, you learn them, you get up on your feet, you start performing them. You start learning them, you let them simmer for a longer amount of time. And once they're securely in your toolkit, you can refresh them once a week. You know, you're in the shower and you think, I'm going to run through that monologue again. You're walking down the street, you think, oh, I might just run the lines of that monologue again. You just keep them at a bit of a simmer. So if somebody calls and says, hey, can you come in tomorrow and do a classical piece and a modern Canadian piece or that sort of thing, you think to yourself, yeah, I can actually. I'm ready. I just rehearsed those pieces the other day. Part of being ready with the pieces means that you know the play, you know it from beginning to the end. You can't really do a monologue unless you know the whole play and the context of the monologue. It also means you probably want to run that piece by another human being before you get in that audition room. I've made all of the mistakes, I'll tell you. I have been in that situation where you're in the audition and you start speaking, you think, oh, is that what I sound like? Is that what I sound like doing this piece? So you want to get that out of the way before you get in there. You want to have the experience of standing in front of somebody and trying to embody that piece so that when you get into the actual audition room, you can do it even better. You probably just want to pick someone who's really positive. They don't need to give you critiques if you don't want critiques. They just need to be there. Speaking in front of another human being can be nerve-wracking, so you want to get some of those nerves out of the way. One of the other things you can do is plan out what you're going to wear the night before so that you don't freak out about it that morning. You want to wear something presentable, something with a bit of a sense of occasion. Maybe not jeans for a theater audition. Sometimes for film and television, that's okay. But you want to wear something that's pretty nice, not too flashy. You want the focus to be on you and your acting and not necessarily on what you're wearing, right? So you want to look good, but you don't need to look fancy. The next thing that you can do that you have control over or that you must give yourself control over is be on time. Just be on time. Just be on time. If there's any reason why you might be late, then be early. If you're taking public transportation and sometimes every once in a while it's a bit iffy, then go early. Just go early and know that you're going to kill some time. Have a strategy for killing some time so that you don't get too worked up. But better to be early and have to kill time than to be late. Now, when you walk in the room, really good practice is to practice making sure you look everybody in the eye. What I sometimes do is try to make a point of noticing what they're wearing. Not in a weird way, but just to make sure that you're actually looking at them. You'd be amazed at how many people that come into audition and they're not looking at you, they're not looking at you, and it just makes you look really nervous. So, look them in the eye, breathe. When they give you, you want to look around in the room and think, okay, this is where I'm doing my audition. Just take a second, breathe it in. When they ask you to go ahead with your piece, take a moment. Take 2 moments. Take 10 seconds. Take 15 seconds. Whatever you need to center yourself. Put yourself in the reality that you need to be in order to start that piece. Take a breath and then start speaking. Don't feel rushed. This is your time, okay? They want you to do well. They want you to be really good. I can tell you that because I've been on both sides of the table. So take your time, breathe. Remember your moment before. We can talk about this in another video about the monologues, but essentially the beginning of your monologue, and then start speaking. When you're done, be ready that they might ask you to do it a different way. This would be called a redirect. Sometimes it's good when you're rehearsing your pieces, in those months and weeks beforehand, to think to yourself, what might they ask me to do? Maybe they would ask me to do this faster. Maybe they'd ask me to do this a bit more confessional. Maybe they'd ask me to do this with a bit sort of bolder comedic choices. Maybe they'd want this really physical and really big. Maybe they'd want this really small, right? Try it a bunch of different ways, because you might get something like that. You might get a redirect like that in the room, and then you're ready. Another thing to think about is, it's not a bad thing to think about all the things that might go wrong. What if I get there and there's somebody in the audition room, in the waiting room, that I hate and it throws me off? What if they're eating through my audition? What if he never looks up from my resume? It's a good idea to think those things through, actually, and think, all right, if this terrible thing happens, I might try this. Give yourself some possible tools or survival techniques, contingency plans, just in case those things crop up, you're not totally caught unawares. Be ready if they ask you, why us? Why do you want to audition for us? What is it about this company, this play, this director that you are interested in? Be ready to talk about that. Showing some initiative and research and enthusiasm is really great. And the last thing is, when you leave, take some time later on that day or right away and write down what happened in that audition. Who did you meet? Who are the people? What were the pieces that you did? How did you feel about the pieces? How were they really good? And how could you improve in the future? Sometimes I used to give myself a grade, actually. That made me feel like I was a bit more in control of my own development and my own progressing and getting better at my auditions. Those are a few tips. I hope that those help. It's just about practice. Practice makes perfect. So if it doesn't go well this time, there's always a next time. Okay? Good luck.